confused all of us at some point. It's super relatable, and the actual truth behind it, yeah, it's probably gonna surprise you. Picture this. It's 2 a.m. You've got this splitting headache, so you stumble to your bathroom cabinet, you grab a bottle of ibuprofen, and then you see it. Printed right there on the plastic, expired, April 2022. You freeze, right? Like, if you take this, will it actually cure your headache, or is it gonna make you sick? Should you just toss it? Look, if you're like most people, you've probably thrown out perfectly good medication just because of that little printed date. But the real truth about medicine expiration dates, it's honestly one of the most misunderstood secrets in healthcare. To clear all this up, we're breaking it down into 4 quick parts. 1. The expiration date illusion. 2. Survivors versus fragile flowers. 3. The medicine cabinet mistake. And 4. The practical takeaway. All right, let's start with section 1, the expiration date illusion. So what does that date actually mean? Well, by law, it is not some chemical cliff where the drug just suddenly becomes toxic or completely useless at the stroke of midnight. Not at all. Instead, it's just a manufacturer's administrative guarantee. It's simply the date up to which the drug company promises, hey, this medicine will keep at least 90% of its original strength, provided you stored it correctly. Think of it this way. Expiration dates are exactly like a manufacturer's warranty on a brand new TV. If your TV has a 1-year warranty, it doesn't just automatically explode on day 366, right? The manufacturer just stops promising that it'll work perfectly after that point. Medicine works the exact same way. So why does this matter? Well, because millions of us are throwing away perfectly good, expensive medications every single year out of sheer panic. Imagine you have a mild allergy attack, but you notice your allergy pills expired a year ago. So you chuck them in the trash, drive all the way to the pharmacy, and spend $15 on a brand new box, even though those old pills would have worked absolutely fine. It's just a massive waste of your hard-earned cash, not to mention it creates a ton of unnecessary environmental waste. And to put some real numbers behind this, replacing military drug stockpiles is crazy expensive. So the US military actually partnered with the FDA to test a huge stockpile of expired medications in what they called the Shelf Life Extension Program. And the results? Totally staggering. They found that 88% of the medications tested were perfectly good for an average of 5.5 extra years past their printed expiration date. 5.5 years! But wait, it gets even crazier. Another really fascinating study looked at unopened pills found in an old pharmacy, pills that had expired anywhere from 28 to 40 years ago. And get this, 86% of them were still fully potent and safe. I mean, wow. If you misunderstand this and blindly assume that drugs turn poisonous exactly on their expiration date, you're literally just throwing money away. Pharmaceutical companies actually have a huge economic incentive to keep these dates short, right? Because it forces you to keep buying replacements. Okay, moving right along to section 2, survivors versus fragile flowers, because as it turns out, not all meds age the exact same way. You see, solid pills, like your standard tablets and capsules, are incredibly stable. Their hard, crystal-like structure really protects the active ingredients. We like to call these the survivors. Think of them like canned beans in your pantry. They can easily last for years and years past their printed date. But on the flip side, liquid medicines, eye drops, and special injectable drugs, those are the fragile flowers. They're much more like fresh milk in your fridge. Once they reach their date, they spoil, they break down fast, and you really do need to throw those out. You absolutely must understand this distinction, because while it's generally totally fine to take an expired solid pill for a mild headache, taking an expired liquid or emergency medication can be incredibly dangerous. Imagine a scenario where someone is having a severe allergic reaction, and they grab an old EpiPen that expired 3 years ago. Because the liquid medicine inside has broken down over time, it just fails to stop the reaction, putting their life in extreme danger. In fact, some fragile drugs can literally vanish into thin air. Take nitroglycerin, which is a life-saving pill for chest pain. It can actually evaporate right out of the tablet if the bottle is opened and not stored perfectly. Another great everyday example, expired eye drops. These are super dangerous because once the preservatives inside them break down, harmful bacteria can start growing in the liquid. That can cause severe eye infections or even vision loss. Bottom line, if you treat an expired EpiPen or a liquid antibiotic the exact same way you treat an expired aspirin, you could face some serious, life-threatening consequences. That brings us to section 3, the medicine cabinet mistake, or how you might be accidentally destroying your meds. Let's talk about the big 3 chemical enemies of medicine: heat, light, and moisture. Think of your medicine like a chocolate bar. If you leave a chocolate bar on the dashboard of a hot car, well, it melts. It's totally ruined immediately. But if you keep that exact same chocolate bar in a cool, dark pantry, it stays crisp and delicious for a really long time. The way you store your medication actually determines its true lifespan. Which brings us to the ultimate everyday example, keeping your daily prescription pills in the bathroom medicine cabinet. I mean, it's called a medicine cabinet, so it seems like the obvious place for them, right? Actually, no. Every single time you take a hot, steamy shower, that heat and humidity seep right into the bottles and slowly destroy the medicine inside. It's such a classic mistake. And hey, just carrying your medicine around the wrong way can ruin it too. There was this fascinating study showing that keeping a bottle of nitroglycerin pills in a pants pocket, where it's constantly exposed to body heat and friction, caused the medicine to completely lose its strength in just 12 months. But carrying that exact same bottle in a purse, it stayed fully potent for over 2 years. The takeaway here is that if you misunderstand the impact of damp bathrooms, hot car glove boxes, or sunny windowsills, you are actively degrading your active ingredients. If you store your medicine in the wrong environment, it might break down and go completely bad way before the printed expiration date. And that means it'll fail you entirely when you actually need it to treat an illness. Finally, let's wrap things up with Section 4, the practical takeaway. What should you actually do differently? So how does all this science actually affect your day-to-day life? Well, here's a super simple 4-step action plan you can implement right now to stay safe, keep your medicines potent, and honestly, save some money. Step 1, move your meds. Seriously, get your medications out of that humid bathroom right now. You want to store them in a cool, dry location. A kitchen cabinet that's far away from the heat of the stove works great, or even just a standard closet shelf in your bedroom or a hallway. Step 2, check the type. If you find an expired solid pill, like an ibuprofen tablet or an allergy capsule, and it's for a minor, non-life-threatening issue, you can generally trust that it is highly likely still completely safe and effective to use. Just remember that canned beans analogy. Step 3, never ever mess around with the fragile ones. If you have expired emergency medications like EpiPens, insulin, or nitroglycerin, or if you have expired liquid medicines and eye drops, remember, those are the fresh milk. Do not risk it. You absolutely need to replace those immediately when they hit their expiration date. And step 4, dispose of your unwanted medicines safely. If you do need to throw a drug out, please don't just flush it down the toilet unless the FDA specifically tells you to, like they do with certain really dangerous pain meds. Unnecessary flushing just pollutes our water supply. Instead, just take a second to mix the old pills with used coffee grounds or cat litter, seal them up tightly in a bag, and toss them in the regular trash so pets and kids can't get to them. Or honestly, even better, use a local pharmacy take-back program. So let's loop right back to that scenario from the beginning. The next time it's 2 a.m. and you find a slightly expired bottle of solid headache pills in your newly organized, cool, dry closet, are you going to panic or are you going to trust the science? Now that you know the real truth behind the date, hopefully this explainer empowers you to make smarter, more confident choices. Thanks for joining me on this one and keep learning.